Hey, it's me again. This is part 7 to What If Deku Had the Abilities of Nerrgegante from Monster Hunter World. Part 7. I think I've already said that. And where I last left off is, I believe, just after they talked to him about not killing the hero killer and saying that's, large improvement. So I'll go on from saying this, that after the school ends, Deku goes home and visits Ryuko, because he hasn't really talked to her in a while. Sort of just like she's been busy and he's been busy. So as he gets there, sort of brings him in for a hug, like, "Oh, I was so worried," then smacks him on the face like, "What were you thinking, you idiot? I had to save my friend. No, you wanted to go after him, didn't you?" That's what I thought. Now, listen to me. You're going to sit down and take this verbal whipping. You understand? He's like, "Yes, Mom." And as he does that, she kind of like feels kind of bad. So as she starts lecturing him, she asks him, why did he do it? Why? He sort of has a flashback back to his first manager. I don't remember if I gave her a name or not. But whatever. I'll just say, if I did, I am sorry. But he just refers to her as manager. Long time ago, before you found me, long before that, there was a manager there. She was a good person. She was the one who found all the fights for me to fight. Then one night, a gang had her fighter lost. They came back and tracked us down. Back to her apartment. When they tried to lay hands on her, I stopped them. But then the one who lost the fight killed her. She sort of takes a moment to go like, dang. And then he goes on, after that, I lost it. I went to a rage I haven't felt now or since then. Even when I heard about what happened to Tensei, I didn't feel it. I don't want to feel that again. Because when I felt that, it wasn't anything but rage, hate, and the wanting to kill. I don't want to ever feel that again. That's why I've tried to keep it under control. When I heard Tensei, I almost lost it. I killed all of them. Ryuko. Every single one. Some of them I killed quickly. Some of the others I tore limb from limb. The one I fought, he had worst of all. I won't go into details with him, but it was truly gruesome. He didn't die like the rest, quickly and efficiently. That was me being a monster. Torturer. I don't like that at all. I'll leave it at that, Ryuko, but that's as far as it'll go. That's as far as I will go. As far as it will stay. As she sort of listens to this, she sort of starts and excuses him, saying, "Alright, we're done. You can go up to your room." He sort of like gets up slowly and walks up to his room very slowly. She sits down at the table going like, I did not know that. How long has he been hiding this? Then she remembers something about her heard like a gang being killed, so she goes back and checks with an old contact in Australia. She says, she gives him some detailed information, then he's like, yeah, what about, can you send me those reports? She reads over the files, and what she sees is truly terrifying to her. That she didn't even know Deku was capable of this kind of savagery. So as that ends, she understands and says thanks. The guy asks, is this revolving to a case that popped up there? She's like, no. Just received some information that is kind of startling. It's like, yeah, well, it's late here. I gotta go to bed. Talk to you later. As that ends, comes the second day. Well, actually, I'll say it's skipped 3 days in the future. And then it's the pool day. I'll say Mineta and someone else arranged the whole thing. Because Mineta's still Mineta. Actually, did I ever get rid of Mineta? No, I didn't. Mineta is still Mineta. Her and I will say Mina organize this. So as they do that, they sort of rush out there and do the whole thing all over. Except Deku wins uncontrollably. And a lot of the time, he actually just, like, took apart the section of the pool and just claimed it as his own. I'll say they have, like, 2 pools. One for laps and one for just swimming. And he took the one that was just there and literally just grew to full size and just sat in it. Literally just, like, sat in it, like, taking a bird bath. As that happened, Aizawa comes out. Aizawa comes out and says, your time's up. And All Might's like, yes, indeed, your time's up. Now final exams are gonna be here soon. As that is said, Deku rises out of the pool, and he's soaking wet, so he just looks around and just gets like a little smirk, and then just Aizawa just like goes behind All Might, and Deku, they're like shake, and it's like an entire wave of water just rushes over everyone. All Might's still standing there like spits a bit of water out. It's almost like, Deku, don't do that again. It's like, alright. So as that continues on, the day after that, and I'll say they have the cafeteria scene with Monoma, who tries to rail on them? Or whatever he does. I have no idea what he's called. Insulting? Railing on them? Something other. I have no clue. But as he's saying that, Deku slowly starts to rise. Everyone notices this. And as he rises, he sort of rises to his full height, has a chair, hand on Monoma's shoulder saying, leave, turn around. As he says that, she just goes like, she can tell that he is angry to the point that it's suffocatingly so on how angry they are. So as she turns and walks away, Kendo walks up like, oh, God, I'm so sorry for that. He's like, it's fine. Just let her know that people won't be as nice as me. As he says that sort of jokingly, they all kind of give like a, yeah. And now, that's the end of that. Now it's time for final exams. Well, I guess I'll tell them about the obstacle course to get All Might. Deku is like tied with Sero. He's able to like jump up and climb more effectively than Tail Girl and Mina. He can like at the same level. Plus he can fly. So, yay, he went with, I'll say it's a tie between Sero and Deku. He's like, good job. He's like, yeah, I just sort of followed you. He's like, why? Well, they say you're like an animal, so you can probably sniff him out. He's like, oh, good. Oh, you're right. So as they finish that, final exams. I literally rewatched the, like, season 2 or 3, whichever it was. Season 2. And after they do that, the final exams. Now, Deku versus All Might. This is much more evenly matched, and I'll still say he's still with Katsuki. Won't change up the teams or anything. All the other teams still win, like Momo. All of them still win how they do, just much quicker. Like with Momo coming up with the idea, and her and Todoroki having a good connection and like understanding, and Ida and Tail Girl being able to win the same way they did, just much more quickly. And now comes with Deku, Katsuki, and All Might. Deku and... No, actually, I'll say Kaminari actually wins with Ashido this time. Like, he just sort of shoots a bolt of electricity, takes out the crane, and he just sort of grabs her and just jumps over, like, just swinging. And as that happens, now it's time for All Might versus Katsuki and Deku. Begin! As they see this, it's like a tense. All Might doesn't have the weights on this time because they sort of recognize Deku's strength. Deku gets Katsuki along the idea that they could win this if they play their cards right. So as they are discussing this, they aren't going straight down the middle. They are sort of walking alongside the wall. As All Might's doing that, he throws the punch he does down the middle, jumps forward there. After they hear that, they just make a rush for it. They don't really want to fight him because they understand they don't have to. And since her pride, Katsuki's pride, really isn't riding on this, doesn't really have any grudge against Deku, she just follows his lead. Now with what's the name? All Might and Deku. Oh, I'm sorry, I keep on yawning. I don't know why. I just have these yawning fits when I try to record. But anyways, as that's going on, All Might's kind of like jumps up and checks around. He sees them running alongside the other wall, so he does his what was it? Carolina? One of those smashes where he like punches himself backwards. You see Deku sees this and just like grabs him and throws him, like sort of like catching a ball, and using the momentum to swing All Might around into like a building. As that happens, Deku convinces Katsuki to like rush towards the exit because he says, "She wins, we both win." As she does that, she throws him a couple of grenades. Now, it comes for the thing everyone's been waiting for. All Might's going unrestrained. Deku's going unrestrained. So this is a match of like a lifetime. As that happens, Deku grows armor and the like, as he usually does, and goes in for the attack. He doesn't wait by because he knows if he lets All Might like get serious or act first, he's gonna take a lot of damage and most likely will lose. So as this keeps going, All Might hasn't really learned any martial arts to counter Deku. So as he's doing that, Deku's going for like joint locks and throwing All Might to the ground, sitting on his back with his arm. I don't know what that's called, but doing all that. As that continues on, Katsuki's just running for the exit. Unbeknownst to her, there's a bunch of robots that have been released. So as that goes on, All Might and Deku are just duking it out. Just one hit after another. Douche, 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 crack. As that happens, Deku realizes some of his bones are starting to break. He grows back his armor, his bones on his tail, swings it around. All Might has watched him fight so many times in like preparation for this match. He saw that coming, so he grabs it and swings him around and slams him into the ground, then like throws him. As that happens, Deku kind of gets the wake-up call that All Might has seen him fight. He knows how to fight more than anybody he has before, most likely, aside from Rampa. And that gets him thinking about Rampa. He's like, it's been a while since I've seen that guy. I wonder what he's up to. Cut to Rampa going, what's wrong, Rampa? Someone must be talking about me or something. I don't know. As that continues, Deku and All Might continue as well. Deku throwing right hooks, left hooks, and mixing up his fighting style between, like, slaps, palm hits, and, forget what the word, knuckle, and punches, kicks. He keeps on switching it up, keeps All Might guessing. He uses his variety of combat techniques to slowly but surely overwhelm All Might. Then when All Might goes into Plus Ultra mode, I'll say as he does that, Deku, it's like a last-ditch effort All Might's doing. So Deku goes full armor and charges forward. Punches collide and boosh. I say like some buildings are cut in half from the force that was distributed by their punch. The wall next to them is gone. As long as with a few several like a mile's worth of trees. That's a lot. So as they do that, they sort of just keep on going. Like doosh 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 doosh. Like All Might's fight against the Nomu is what it looks more like. As Deku pushes forward, he takes the spike of his tail, slips it around, and stabs into All Might's foot. He's like, what? You just stabbed me! Whatever to win! Brings his head back and headbutts All Might, causing a huge crack. He can physically hear the crack and feel the crack. He has cracked off his horn plus cracked a bit of his skull. All Might's skull is like cracked as well. It's like cracked, like more cracked than Deku's because a bit of his horns took the damage. As that happens, Deku trips him, sweeps him, and just starts pounding him in the face like ugh, ugh, ugh. As he's doing that, Bakugo, or Katsuki, has made it to the exit. It's like, Katsuki has exited the building. As that's happening, Deku finally is able to get the handcuffs and brings it on All Might. Just barely, because All Might had regained consciousness, as the final handcuff went like slap and clicked. It's like, Izuku Midoriya has captured All Might. And I'll say this was really, really close. After that, Deku just sort of like collapses onto his side, like laying side by side with All Might, like, how long has it been since I've been this tired? I got to say, young Midoriya, I agree with you. That was a good fight. And they bump fists like, good. I think I'm just gonna lie here for 10 years in hibernate. I'm afraid we can't do that. So as they both rise, they both realize ribs, bones, and I think Deku has shattered like a finger or something. He thinks, I think you shattered a rib or something, man. They're just sort of limping away with each, like, Deku has like All Might like on his, like on their arm. They're just sort of limping away like, oh. As that happens, it cuts to them, like, everyone scores over the final exams. And they all, like, whoever failed has their freak out about not winning. And they're like, oh, we lost. And then all Zaiwa drops the bomb on them again. Deku's like, I'm not even surprised at this point, considering what he tried to pull with the opening physical exam. If I did explain, he really did do the whole whoever loses and is kicked out of class. He does the whole it was all a logical excuse. He's like, we should have seen this coming in hindsight. You all will have a couple of days to get stuff prepared. Do I make myself clear? They're like, yes, Aizawa. Deku's like, yeah, oh, everything hurts. They talk about the stuff they need and go to the mall. The thing with Shigaraki almost happens the way it does in the original. He sort of reaches over and tries to grab Deku's hand, but Deku like he does it by instinct and grabs Shigaraki's hand, looks him dead in the eye, and shakes his head. He's like, he doesn't want to fight him here. If he wants to fight, he needs to set a time and place, and he will come. As that happens, people start looking, and then he pulls him, Shigaraki, in for a hug, it's been forever, man. How has it been? Been too long. And acting all holly and jolly, and puts his arm around his thing, kind of giving him a little nuggie to get convincing, and people stare away. Man, they must be close. And then as they go on, he's like, so, what do you want? They sit down and have a burger, because Deku's chill like that. It's like, yeah, he may have tried to kill me, but few people have done that already. Some almost have. So, what do you want? Just sits down, and as they're eating, sort of explains why does everyone have their focus on saying. He had an ideal. He wanted to get rid of the new heroes, and bring in the old. Because nowadays, heroes are nothing but celebrities who yearn for popularity and money. And that was his whole ideal, was to tear it down and build anew. And as Shigaraki is thinking through this, and so Deku leans over, what's your conviction? Why do you do what you do? It's because you're just a man-child looking to break some toys. Or is there a possibility you have something larger planned? I don't know. I don't care. If it gets in the way of... if it ends up endangering civilians, which is what I'm training to prevent, I will not only stop you, but if you force me to, I will kill you. Shigaraki looks in his eyes. He's come to an understanding. Shigaraki knows that Deku and his kind are forces of nature in itself sometimes. Especially Deku, considering, I'll say somehow, they got recordings on what happened, and he saw what he did to All Might. He's like, you weren't even taking him, you weren't even trying to kill him, you were just trying to capture him while All Might was going all in. He sort of nods his head. So Shigaraki's kind of scared of Deku, that he wasn't trying to kill, and when he was trying to kill things, he kills them quick and efficiently. Because he's a monster and an animal. The monsters in Monster Hunter World and Elder Dragon specifically may be forces somewhat similar to forces of nature, but they are still animals, and they will, if they have to kill, they will do it as quickly and efficiently as possible to minimize the damage and risk to themselves. So that's where his whole spikes come in. He aimed for the knees of the Nomu who he was fighting, stabbed his tail into the foot, grabbed the arm, ripped off the arm, turned around, stepped on its tail, pushed it down, stabbed it in his head. It was one of the most quick and efficient ways to get to your head. One of them. I'm not saying the most, but one of the most. And as he sort of realizes, he's like, thanks for the food. As he goes to walk away, he's like, I understand my conviction now. I will tear down the pillar of peace. All Might. As he does that, he walks away. Deku's questioning, should he have let him go? He's thinking probably. He would have had to get somewhat serious to deal with him. At least stage 1. But even then, that would cause damage and get me in trouble with the authorities here. So he sort of had to no choice but to really stick it out. As that happens, Kurigiri's like, did you learn everything you need, Master Shigaraki? He's like, I understand now. That boy, Deku or whatever, he may be a valuable asset in the future if we can turn him to our cause. That's the end of that. And I'll say also Todoroki and Deku go on a date before they do it. I'll say they'll stomp a few minor crimes, like Deku, like stomping a few shoplifters, like clothesline, his signature move, the clothesline. And also helping a few couples get over their thing because they're ruining his date. And helping a few people not fall to their deaths. Just a daily life, technically. As that happens, that ends. Now it comes for the bus ride. Deku's kind of worried at this point, so he's sort of gone from happy, cheery Deku to like guard dog Deku. He's like keeping his eyes open on the ridges. He's looking all around, keeps constantly sniffing the air, checking for any change, slight change, to what may come around. He's doing this the entire bus ride, and everyone's like, whoa, what's up with Deku? I think he's on guard or something. Maybe, it kind of makes sense with everything that's happened. He seems like the most logical one who would be able to do that, wouldn't he? As they continue to discuss amongst themselves, Kaminari goes like, hey buddy, what's wrong? Keep your eyes open. With everything that's happened, something may happen here too. Are you kidding? This is a place where nobody knows about. Like, only a few select people knew about this. And he's like, you're right, but never hurts to be sure. Not a lot of people knew what was happening at the USJ, but they still managed to get in. And know who was supposed to be there, what time, and what class. Doesn't hurt to be prepared, Kaminari. Remember that. That any fight, you must always picture a fight in your head. Even being it when you feel at most safe, even at home. As he says that, he sort of like stops talking, because Deku switches from personalities, similar, he's borderline personality disorder. But he really isn't that, like, he can go from super happy to super angry. It's more along the lines, he has mentalities he sets himself into, like, if it's normal days, he'll be like happy, cheery, like, big brother, sort of like Saint 14 from Destiny Deku. If you do not know who Saint 14 is, look him up. Saint 14, Destiny 2. He's a good guy. He's sort of like him. I'll probably put a picture in here as well. Maybe. I don't know. So as he does that, he sort of like keeps looking around, making sure everything's guarded. When the bus comes to a stop, he sort of just like gets out cautious. He's the first one off the bus. He's like checking around, sniffing around. He's like, Claire! As they're doing this, people are starting to think, has Deku finally lost it? And Deku doesn't do anything, he just gets on the bus. He like literally climbs on top of the bus and just sits there. Like, watching. Like, back and forth, just like sniffing around everything. He notices the Wild Wild Pussycats. And he knows who they are. Because he'll check out the chartings every now and then. Like, I believe they were in the top, they were like number 40, their team was. And so he'll like check like the top 50, top 40, and so forth. As he did that, he knows who they are, knows what they specialize in. So he sort of just picks up Todoroki. He like goes into like second degree, picks up Todoroki. He just like sort of walks away with her and flies. He's like, I know what's up. Goodbye. As he's flying away, Todoroki's like, why did you do this? Actually, not just Todoroki. He went stage 3, grabbed Todoroki, Momo, and Ida. Sorry, I keep on forgetting names. Todoroki, Momo, and Ida. As he does that, he sort of explains that those two are part of a hero team known as the Wild Wild Pussycats. As he lands, he just sort of sets them all down and just like sees a bunch of dirt. Well, he secures the area first, then goes walking around and sees a dirt pile. He like digs a bit, because I'll say he like likes to do that from time to time. Is when he's bored, is that he'll just take a dirt bath. Yeah, he just like takes a dirt bath and gets all in the dirt and just like does that. Koda's like, What is he doing? What the heck? Walks over and is like, what are you doing? He's like, look, like, sort of like, huh? What? Who are you? It's like, oh, hey, I'm Deku. As he holds out his hand, Koda just sort of like bonks him on the nose. And he's just like, comes back and like feels his nose like, was that supposed to hurt? And Koda's like, ow, 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 ow. Hey, let me take a, no, stop it. The other three girls are like, what do you do? I'm not sure. I think he made the kid mad somehow. Now we'll cut to the back to where all the kids arrive there. They're all exhausted except for Kaminari. He looks like he's taking some damage, but he's kind of fine. He was sort of like a main front. As he did that, they all got there, and all of them collapsed. Except for Deku. You know, say that since they prepared the food and all, they do that. Now it comes for day 2 training. Deku just does what he usually does. He just asks Pixie Bob. There we go. Pixie Bob's the one who can do stuff with sand. Pixie Bob to make a bunch of like sand forms and just have a mix with rock, trees, and all that, so that way they can like put up like a challenge for Deku as that goes on. So he just sort of fights them and asks them to take different shapes of different monsters. She typically just has them take up flying things so Deku can practice his aerial combat, because he really doesn't have to fight anything that flies that much, aside from like the occasional monster. So as they do that, he sort of just walks. As they get done, they all sort of like go take her to the baths. Same thing with Koda happens. He falls over. Except it's Mineta doing that. He sort of just like slaps her hand. I'll get you for these. As that happens, he sort of looks over and just falls over into the guy's thing. All like Sato, Sero, and Kaminari, and Ojiro, not Ojiro, Octo Arms, Dupla Arms, whatever. Deku like dives there and like catches him. It's like, whoa, kid, almost fell there. They're like, is he okay? They're like, yeah, he's fine. God, kid, he almost died there. So he, as he walks over there, he like tells Mandalay what happened. He's still in his like little thing. Oh, like some of the girls come out. Is he okay? He's like, yeah, he's fine. Poor little guy. Pats him on the head and he's like, can you guys go back to the mats? They're like, why? You guys are in only towels. Sort of like look down and realize this, so they're like all like, oh, okay, and they like rush back. It's like, you're not embarrassed? Why would I be? I can, if this towel thing falls off, I can literally just transform, and then all that's concealed. She's like, really? Yeah, it's like a form of armor or something. I never figured it out. I don't think anyone ever did. It's like our body's way of protecting sensitive areas. She's like, I see. And as that happens, they all like lay down for the night. Deku's just having nightmares since of everything that's been happening. It's sort of like back to like that moment, that one moment when he failed to save the manager, that just keeps coming back like every night for a little while. That's just comebacks, and it's just getting worse and worse. Like she like screams at him like, you failed to save me, and like typical horror movie, horror nightmare stuff. As that happens, he just sort of like wakes up in a cold sweat like Kaminari's like, what's wrong? He's like, nothing, I gotta get some fresh air. As he gets up, he gets dressed and walks out. He sort of realizes that he can't keep on doing this and that he can't just go back to sleep after that. So what he does is head to the training area where everyone knows that Aizawa and I'll say Tiger are there. Actually, the whole team is there, and Aizawa's like, some of these kids are just too annoying. What are we supposed to do to help them train? As they hear that, they just hear the door open as Deku just walks off into the forest. he just sort of starts training. He doesn't go into any of the dragon's form. He just starts like climbing, running, push-ups, and punching trees. He like goes into his dragon form for a little bit to like uproot a tree, set it down, get it stabilized, and just starts punching it like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, 3, 1, like combos, and like practices picking everything up. They sort of realize this, and before long, he just sort of like breaks the tree in half. And after that happens, he looks down at his hands. They're all bloody because the skin has broken on them. As he realizes this, he just sort of just like deals with it. He like rubs them like hard, and then like they slowly start healing because of his healing factor. So after that, he just goes to stage 1 and armors up his thing to give him sort of like protection. As that, he squares up against like some stone he got and starts punching it. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And this time he doesn't stop there. He starts like with wrestling. This is a pretty big boulder, so he sort of like grabs it like head. He like gets. He has his shoulder. How it would be is like he would have his head, then the other guy's head, and they're pushing. He sort of like has it like that, like a football player. And as that, he starts like trying to run or push it. As that's going on, he continues with it, and he actually starts pushing it like slowly but surely. He starts getting momentum, and then he just starts pushing it, and then ends up just like throwing it. At this point, he's exhausted. He's like, and he starts thinking he should have brought some water. But the Wild Pussycats didn't expect this, but someone else was watching. As that happens, Koda, out of everybody there, Koda like sees him exercising and training, walks up to him, thinking that he's an idiot. Why is he out here this late? So as he goes over there, he talks to Koda talks to him like, "What are you doing out here? You know what time it is?" Deku just sort of looks at him and just sideways glance. Koda's like, "Look, you look tired. Here," has like tosses him a couple of waters. Deku shrinks down and just goes like, "Thanks, Koda, right? Thanks for keeping that creepy girl, Mineta. Don't know how she got in, but she apparently does good things. Her quirk is very useful in many ways." So Koda's like, "Yeah, whatever." He's sort of, "Why are you out here this late? I couldn't sleep, and training always helps me, but why are you out here this late?" He's like, "I couldn't sleep. I take walks." He's like, "Would you like to train a bit?" And he's like, "Why would I want to train? Well, kinda dirty, and I hear your parents were the water heroes. Weren't they taken down by a guy named... what was his name? Muscular? Or something like that. Apparently he was one of the few times where a monster has also been given a quirk. He's one of the reasons that we're hated so much." We? Yes, monsters are hated. Sometimes it makes me wonder why. Why? Why are we given these? No one else. It's one of the things I've looked into, but I couldn't find an answer. So yes, so what's his quirk? He knows about the water hero's quirk, and it was his father could shoot water, his mother could manipulate, or something like that. It's a tragedy. Those guys were some good people. So as he hears that, Koda just like, "I can spray water on my hands. Happy now?" He's like, "That's a pretty good quirk, actually, if you think about it. If I needed a fire stopped, I would come to you." "Sounds good. Do you mind washing off my hands?" Koda sees his hands. They're covered with blood, sweat, tears, and dirt. He's like, "What did you do to your hands?" It's like, "Oh, they'll be fine. They'll heal up by the morning." As he said that, Koda just sort of like takes a seat, and it kind of gets cold. Deku kind of transforms and just covers Koda with his wing. like stretches it out and like curls it around him as well as his tail to try and keep him warm. Everyone's watching this, and then Deku's just like, you smell that? It's like, they're like, oh, we should probably get moving. He hears the wood snap and then just charges straight forward. He's like, stay down. Charges straight forward and bursts through the trees. They're like, it's us, it's us. He's like, what the heck are you guys doing? You know never to do that to me. What is wrong with you? Aizawa, why are you here? I saw you training. We saw you get up in the middle of the night and come out here. Saw you start training. Tiger's like, what kind of training do you do? He's like, it's martial arts training and physical training. It's like, nothing I've seen compares to that, what you were doing. You move like a mountain. Not an entire mountain, but part of it. Pixie Mom's like, yeah, you did. What was the point of having me use those constructs? They help me fight aerial combat. I'm not very good at it since many things don't fly, as you could see. Ko's like, what's happening? He's like, your family was spying on us, and my teacher was too. As that ends, they sort of like, it's the night of the raid. Deku can smell something in the air. He runs over to Aizawa. He's like, Aizawa, we need to go now. Things are not gonna end well. We need to cut this short. Aizawa looks him in the eyes and has seen that look in his eyes a few times before. He's like, alright, listen, we don't want everyone to panic. And if you think something's gonna go awry, maybe it's the villains in their clothes. We can't have them knowing. We know. You know what I mean? Because that just may have them act quicker. Probably be better to have them act during the daylight when we can see them than at night. We'd be more together and more alert. Then again, the villains might pull back. Or then again, they might be just as well rested instead of having to be half sleep deprived. Plus, none of them are in any condition to fight. Aizawa sort of takes a look at how everyone's kind of sluggish from the training, the brutal training that they've been doing. Say, alright, we'll start getting people to pack their stuff up. I want you to do a perimeter check with Pixie Bomb's constructs. Or formation things. I'll have Tiger supervise the students, and I'll have me and Vlad and I will keep an eye on general popularity. Not popularity, over everything. Koda, he talk to Mandalay, and I forget the other one's name, whose quirk was the ability to look up at 100 people and know everything about them. So as that happens, they all sort of get together. Deku and he's like, I'll bring Kaminari along. He may not be as good as me, but he's still good. So as they sort of patrol the area, they're not taking this lightly. They're at the final stage and just roaming around, sort of patrolling. Kaminari and Deku managed to stay in contact via Mandalay, and as he's like, nothing around the west side. Over. And as Mandalay treats that, Kaminari's like, nothing over here either. Maybe you're wrong. Deku's like, I'm never wrong when it comes to this sense. It's always correct. Keep your eyes peeled. As that happens, as Deku says, keep your eyes peeled, just a roar. And then Deku's like, what the f-? And that's where I'm gonna end it. This thing is getting too long. Good night. Goodbye. Thank you for watching.